Hi, friends. Welcome back to Sunnyhill Homestead for the real life July garden tour. Let me explain. July has been absolutely crazy, and I'm sure for many of you, it has been the exact same. The garden starts growing immensely, you end up with harvest rolling in, but then real life can throw some things at you. So today's garden tour is going to be much more of a vlog style, as you can see. I'll take you around as if you're right here with me and show you some of the things that are blossoming in our garden and being ever so fruitful, and then some of the things that we still need to tackle. Life has been bonkers, as I like to refer to it. We have had travel, we've had tournaments. If you don't know, our family studies martial arts. So our kids compete in martial arts, and so we've done some traveling for that. But then we also just this past week had 2 trips to the ER from accidents. Our third born ended up fracturing his elbow. My husband ended up having an eye injury and needing to go to the hospital. So it's been busy, and it has been a time where I haven't been able to get in the gardens. So when you're watching this, rest assured, 4 kids at home, busy life, immense gardens, right? We have over 120 tomato plants this year, plus all the other plants that are filling up. Rest assured that it is possible to still grow an incredibly productive, healthy garden, even if you have no time to get in it. First things first, check out these tomatoes. Oh my gosh, they are massive. I will bring you in closer. I just wanted to show you height perspective. I'm only 5'1", and these are towering over our 7-foot T-posts, which are about a foot in the ground. So we're sitting at about 6 feet high for these guys. When it comes to these tomatoes, that has been the number one thing that has taken my time this year. So growing over 120 of them, I didn't account for how much time should be spent pruning. Hopefully the weather's been on my side and late blight is just starting to hit now. So I'm hopeful if life finally starts to settle that I'll be able to get in here and do some epic pruning. We did earlier in the season, and that's probably what's helped in regards to keeping the blight away. But we've got some tricks up our sleeves too. I made up a spray through Jadam. So if you've heard of it, it's like a Korean natural farming. They have a sulfur spray recipe that is said to stop blight in its tracks. So I made that. So for the plants that are just starting to show some signs of it, I'm really excited to try it and see if it stops it. Now behind me here, you can see 2 not so healthy tomato plants. These are at the far corner of our first patch. And most of the time I would suggest pruning these out so it doesn't risk the other plants, because it definitely has some sort of disease. Again, with that spray, I'm hoping by using it, it will stop the spread of it on the other plants too. So it's a bit of an experiment. We are blessed. We have so many tomato plants growing this year that if I lose a couple, it's not as big of a deal. If you only had a handful, I would be absolutely recommending take out any sick plants right off the bat, just to limit your chances of it affecting your other plants. Look at these. These are Amish paste. I have never grown these before. I am absolutely thrilled with how these are doing. Look at that. Oh gosh, I cannot wait till canning season, till all of these are ripe. It's one of those things, like you see these massive tomatoes forming and you're just itching for them to ripen. Be patient. The time will come very soon. All right, so obviously it's mostly tomatoes up here. As I walk down, we've got calendula, we've got the borage, and then just to the side here, I actually sowed some new bush beans in. So July is still a month that you can absolutely sow seeds in the ground. Once we get into August, you're running out of a little bit of time for a lot of the crops, but it's amazing how quickly the produce can come up in July. Beautiful zinnias and a large mammoth sunflower, which will be so gorgeous when it blooms. Zinnias are just one of my absolute favorites. They're so easy to grow. They make gorgeous cut flowers. If you're interested in knowing if they're ready to be cut, if you shake them and they wiggle, they're not ready yet. You should shake them and they're very firm like this one. That would be ready for cutting and harvesting, just for your vases, for drying. The nice thing about these two is the more that you cut off, the more blooms will come. So I especially love zinnias if you're looking for a spot in your gardens for like August and September blooms, and even sometimes into October. Zinnias are gorgeous and they fill out so beautifully by that time of the year. Side of the herb garden's a little bit of a mix. So again, we've got the zinnias. I've got some lemon balm that we found on discount, which is always great, especially for perennials. We have some yarrow from a dear friend, as well as some slender mountain mint. Then we have some bachelor buttons. And these I'm growing for another gardener's wedding. She's growing all her own flowers for her wedding, which is just amazing. So sustainable. So I offered up some space throughout our gardens to add some extra flowers for her. Some of them I've never grown before. I'm definitely more of a vegetable and fruit grower versus a flower grower, but I'm slowly getting more and more, flowers into the mix here, and it just adds so much beauty. So it's been great getting to grow some new varieties, some that I hadn't even heard of. I hope we can, grow some gorgeous flowers for her. Speaking of flowers, check out this sunflower. It's the most hilarious thing in the world. It is so small. So small. Like, that's it. It's a teddy bear. Super cute, adorable, fuzzy, but much smaller than I was anticipating. So we'll enjoy the cuteness of it. These round beds, actually, next year, we're going to turn them into our strawberry beds. So normally, the kids have always planted these out. They've been known as the kids' gardens. They choose what to put in, they sow seeds, they experiment, which is so great. But they're just getting to where they don't enjoy that as much. They would much rather be hands-on in planting in the main gardens with us. So they also love berries. What kid doesn't? My husband and I absolutely do. So we're going to turn these into strawberry beds. And the nice thing is, since we have 3 of them, that is actually a phenomenal setup for strawberries, because first and second year strawberry plants are where you're going to get the most fruit. Year 3, they start to die back. So if you can always rotate the runners through. So we would plant the first year in the first garden, and then the runners from it would be planted in the second, and then the runners from that bed would go in the third, and we keep rotating through, and it will keep our harvest of strawberries much larger that way. The other awesome thing is we can cover these. These are raised beds, so it's much easier to cover in regards to pest protection for strawberries in a raised bed versus in the ground. A lot of slugs and everything really enjoy strawberries, where the metal raised beds, I don't find many slugs attracted to them. So I'm hoping that stays the same, or maybe it's just because we hadn't grown strawberries in them yet. Did you guys have a weird cucumber year too? Cucumbers and melons and even summer squash have been so delayed for us this year. Like, unbelievably delayed. I know the spring was super weird. I think that has a huge part of this, but just very interesting. So we're finally getting cucumbers now. One of those flowers I was speaking of for the wedding is right here. This is, I forget the name, but it's a type of poppy. It did already flower a ton and seed, but I removed the seed pods in hopes of it triggering more blooms. Again, for the bride to be. So I can't wait to see how that works out. Our citrus trees are doing beautifully. They love it outside in the summer. We have tons of peppers coming in. Volunteer tomato plant, not even sure the variety. It's a type of Roma style. San Marzano, Roma. As for peppers, let me bring you in here. They are finally starting to really increase in size, and we've harvested some shishito peppers already. We have some banana peppers ready. It's just, July is such an abundant month. So these are the giant Marconis, and you can see by the name, they are so great. They turn red, they're sweet, and they are just absolutely delicious. We have many other peppers. I don't even remember what this one is. That's how real life this is, guys. Lots of shishitos, you can see. And then those delicious sweet banana peppers. Finally, some cloud cover again. Oh, such a nice break from the heat. We've had such epic heat waves here. It's been so hot. So just across from where I was, we obviously have some more borage that was self-planted, self-seeded. Some thyme. We bought this last year on clearance as well. It cost me just over $1. Anytime you can find clearance plants that are perennial, especially, just grab them, even if they're super small, as long as there's still some life in there. Because the value, once it gets in the ground and just takes off, oh my gosh, it's amazing. The cabbages you see here, riddled with cabbage worm, you know, holes. These were direct seeded and they are starting to head up. So in order to deal with the cabbage worms, I rely on either netting them, which is what I did in the beginning, or using mosquito dunks. So mosquito dunks are just little pucks of safe organic bacteria called BT. I'll put the name of it on the screen because don't ask me to pronounce that today. But what it does is you just water it onto the leaves. The cabbage worms will consume it and it will kill them. So it'll stop all the cabbage worms from attacking these. I just got to get on it. With the mosquito dunks, you just need a small piece in a regular watering can, right? Like about 2 gallons. Make sure it is rainwater or unchlorinated water, or it will kill the bacteria in the mosquito puck, which is what you want to use, right? And you let it sit for 24 hours before you use it, and then you just make sure it contacts the leaves of your plants that are affected. When I show you the kale, it is the same thing. It was gorgeous and gorgeous and gorgeous, and then life just got away, and those cabbage moths, we decided to share with them. It's okay, it's nature. Okay, let me take you up to that kale. You can see though, tons more herbs. So we got oregano, broadleaf sage, we have chocolate mint in the mix, and then tons of bush beans. Absolutely have to get in here and start harvesting these. They're endless. I love these. These are just one of our favorite crops to grow. We have so many. We love growing so much food. But these, like garden snacks or just pan fry them with some garlic. Oh, gosh, they're so good. Fresh beans, so crisp, so sweet. Mmm. You can't go wrong. If you've ever noticed growing yellow beans, if you prefer yellow and not green, you do have to plant more plants in order to get as equal of a harvest. So yellow bush beans and pole beans, they tend not to produce as heavily as green varieties. So just keep that in mind if you're more of a fan of yellow. Just plant extra. Planting extra also acts as your insurance, right? In case there's bunny rabbits or anything that eat your plants, which I'll show you here. We had one little baby bunny attack my edamame. And you can definitely see the cabbage worms. They've affected our kale. Again, normally I'm on it with the mosquito dunk, the BT, but I just haven't been this year. And that's okay. You can still eat this. If it seems unappetizing to you, then dry it and throw it into your smoothies, or even just chop it up, freeze it, throw it into your smoothies. If you don't like, the thought of eating this sauteed on your plate or in a salad, fresh like this from the damage. It's not wasted food. In regards to bunny rabbits, we had edamame in here. So that's what these adorable plants are that are being smothered now by other bush beans. And these seeds were sent to us and I was so excited for them. And then of course a bunny rabbit, it was so funny, came in, topped all the edamame, but then left every bush bean that was right next to it. Didn't touch the bush beans at all, just touched the edamame. It has a preference. That's okay. I'm just noticing I have some dragon tongue beans. So these are a very productive, more of a yellow bean, but it obviously has those purple striations on them. So sweet. So sweet. So if that's why you prefer yellow beans over green beans, this is a variety to definitely consider. Oh my gosh, they're so good. You can see the focuses. They're more yellow on the inside for sure. When you cook them, the purple disappears. It doesn't stay. So it'll look just like a regular green bean. But oh my gosh, so good. Ignore me while I have a nice little garden snack. All right. And one of the last things up on this tier that I'll show you guys are our onions. So onions, you've followed us for a while, you'll know they were our trouble crop from growing from seed. And it took me 3 years to figure out how to do it. And we finally mastered it. So check out these onions. They're just starting to bend over, which indicates that they're almost done bulbing up. And I will show you the size they've gotten to. Look at this. Oh my gosh, they are getting so beautifully large. This one especially. Look at that. It's still not completely bent over, so it's still sizing up just a little bit, just like this one. It's definitely not done yet. But the ones that are fully bent over are done. They will not get any bigger than this. I actually left that bent over onion in the ground, or this also goes if you've ever had onions sprout in your kitchen and you're wondering if you can plant it. What would happen is if I leave that in, it's going to die back over the winter, and then it will come back to life in the spring and very quickly shoot off a flower stalk and make seeds. So no, the bulb itself would not get much bigger at all. It is in its second year. And onions are biannual, which means they set seed in their second year. Just like carrots. Carrots do the same thing. If you leave a carrot in the ground over the winter, the next spring it'll shoot back to life and it'll quickly shoot up a flower stalk, which will then make you seeds. So it's not a lot because you then have thousands and thousands of seeds for free to always grow your own carrots or your own onions. I'm going to walk you guys over to our carrots now to show you. The cool thing about that as well is if you get in the habit of at least leaving one or two to seed like that, carrot seeds and onion seeds are one of those few that absolutely lose germination rate much quicker than other seeds. So when we're talking about germination rate, essentially that is the efficiency of the seed sprouting. So for some seeds, you can keep them in storage for decades. And as long as they're stored properly, so not high humid conditions, not damp, not wet, right, but dry, cool, dark, those seeds can last forever. But when we're talking about carrots and onions in particular, their germination can be greatly affected throughout the years. So you want to use fresh seeds for those, preferably 1 to 2 years old. By the time you hit 3 years and beyond, the germination efficiency and the germination rate is going to be far less than if you were using fresh seed. So if you got in the habit of leaving a carrot in the ground or again an onion and letting it come back to life in the spring, right? You just leave it over winter, you let it come back to life in the spring and set seed. And if you collect those seeds, you will have enough seeds for that 2 to 3 year period, no problem. So then the second year after that, you can leave another one, save the seeds. You will have that constant supply of self sufficient seed. You don't have to buy seed. The other benefit of saving your seeds is it's got genetics, right? It was grown and developed in your specific microclimate of your yard. So I have seen it over and over again that plants that we have saved seed from, even that we sell to other local growers that are in our area, those plants do much, much better than others, or even those that they've just sown from seed packages that maybe those seeds were harvested from a pepper that was grown in California, right? It will have more genetics specific to your specific climate, which will make it grow better. I highly recommend saving seed when you can. Now, the one thing that this carrot patch is showing me though, is we already have a carrot going to seed. We actually have two here. So you can see how the one stem is much longer. And if you look at the top, it's got a flower bud, right? If I left this, it would actually go to seed. Now the problem is carrots only seed in their second year. So this one is actually forcing seed because it's been stressed. We have had such high heats. We have had limited rain. So the drought conditions as well as the high heats have just triggered this one to go to seed. Do I want to save the seeds from this one? No, not unless I'm absolutely desperate for carrot seeds. And the reason is its genetics will be more prone to flowering early like this, flowering under stress. We don't want that. These ones, I'm just going to end up pulling because if they flower early, they're not going to be delicious either. You guys see behind me? It just goes on and on and on. It's not corn, it's sorghum. Sorghum is so cool. We use sorghum a lot here, actually. We bake with a lot of gluten free flours. And this variety, even though it's not meant to be used for grain, I still could. It's so big, I can't even get it in the shot. Look at that. I'm like cutting my own head off. Amazing. I will bring you in closer to see the grains growing. But that is broom corn variety, which if you've ever seen those decorative little broom corn brooms, like at like farmers markets, um, little adorable farms like that make them and they're handmade. That's the plant that it comes from. Isn't that cool? Sorghum's also really cool because the stalks of it can actually be like squished out when it's done growing. You can get this delicious sugary liquid from it, almost like sugar cane. So again, it's not quite the variety for that, but I definitely am going to try it. It's gorgeous. I wanted to get it. I wanted to kind of decorate the house with it for fall. And then when we're all done with it, I can chip it. Do you know how much mulch that's going to bring? Absolutely huge. All our Jerusalem artichokes here. And then our cherry tree is done. I have to prune it. We have to take the cover off it as well. This cover saved our harvest this year. It was a bit of a pain to put on because it is such a large tree now. That's why I have to get to pruning it down in size. So next year we can put the cover on much easier. But we ended up with almost a kilogram of cherries this year. It was 900 plus grams of cherries. We're trying to keep track by weight, an average of what we grow here, because one small garden bed can produce pounds and pounds of food for you. And I just want to be able to show you that because not everybody, especially in an urban environment, which is what I specialize in when I'm teaching this sort of thing, not everybody has the space like we do. We are very blessed to have a bit of an older home that came with a larger lot compared to most in an urban setting. So when you're watching these tours and you're seeing all this food we're growing, just pay attention in one bed how much we were able to fit in. And then when I have, the stats, the actual numbers, I think it's going to be pretty mind blowing how much you can actually grow in weight and how much money you can save. And considering how we grow is pretty hands off, that's a win-win, right? Like it's just amazing. So just keep that in mind again when you're watching. If you only have, a 3 by 3 square, how much you could actually fit in there is pretty epic. Let's continue through the other raised beds here. You can see these slicer style tomatoes are coming in so beautifully. Coolest looking tomato ever. It's so cool. This is called mushroom basket. So a lot of people actually like cut off the tops and stuff it and just like stuffed peppers, but they make stuffed tomato dishes. But just absolutely amazing. The basil in between, because basil and tomatoes always grow well together. But the reason why I love to do this is the tomatoes get so big so quickly that it actually shades the basil and it gives me a longer basil harvest, which is wonderful because basil in full sun can go to flower so quickly. And once it goes to flower, it's wanting to produce seeds, so it doesn't produce much more foliage and leaves, which is what we eat. If you're growing basil and you've had a hard time with it, try and put it in partial shade. It will absolutely last so much longer for you. By the end of July, our trellises are absolutely not looking nearly as beautiful. These are all our peas, and we always save quite a few to go to seed. So that's what's happening here. So this weekend, I will be removing all of these, letting them finish drying. I have done it in our greenhouse just being our tool shed. At our tool shed, we put a greenhouse roof on it. So it's a hybrid greenhouse, if we should say, but it gets incredibly hot in there. When I was first using it to dry things, I was really worried it would affect the germination of seeds, especially because that greenhouse can get over 50 degrees Celsius easily. And I tested the peas. They were the first thing that I tried drying in there, and they were perfectly fine. They sprouted beautifully. So I use it for drying purposes. It's great when life gets busy and it's going to rain and you forgot to bring in all your stuff. So for instance, these are so big and they're still green. So this isn't fully dry. If you wanted to eat this now, it would be very bitter. It wouldn't be a sweet snap pea anymore. We've all had that, right? Where we get the big ones, you crack it open, you think it's going to be great, and nope, it is very bitter tasting. So that's why we leave these to go to seed. This one, however, you can see it's nice and yellow, crunchy, and we break this off. Let me show you here. The inside won't be perfectly dry yet. That's why the peas still look nice and plump. But we're going to let these dry. And that's exactly what you find in your pea packages, right? Your pea seeds package. Say that a million times fast. It's just these dried out. So yes, that also does answer a question that I get quite often. If these peas, right, dried are what you plant to get pea plants, does that mean you could buy like dried peas, dried chickpeas, dried lentils at the grocery store and plant them? Absolutely. Your germination might not be as good because oftentimes those seeds are a bit older than what they would package specifically for growing, but you can absolutely plant those and still get plants growing. So if that's what you want to do, if you want to go to your pantry, you are completely like, you don't have the investment right now to go out and buy seeds, and you're not in Canada in order to get free seeds from us. If you are, just shoot me a message. Then, go to your pantry, rate it, find the dried chickpeas, find the dried lentils, any beans. Guys, you can plant those. That's it for the backyard. Let me quickly show you the front yard and what one of my next projects is in regards to maintenance here. Before I do that, though, I forgot to show you on our kiwi vine. Look, we have kiwi berries forming. Oh, that one just fell off. That wasn't good. I have found they're pretty delicate. I think next year we'll definitely have more. This first year, I think we're maybe going to have one or two. Similar to when we first planted our cherry tree in the first harvest we got, it's so limited. But with years and time, it definitely gets to fill in. But that's hilarious. That's real life for you, right? You go out, you see your garden, and then you touch something, whether it be a tomato or whatever, and it just falls. Gets us every time. The garden has filled in so beautifully. All these cosmos, they just planted themselves. So lovely. Our seed libraries all filled up for things that you can still plant this month. It will be changing very, very soon to more of those fast growing, cold friendlier crops. So we've got peas in mind, radishes, lettuces, greens, things like that. And next to us are all our raspberries. This is something definitely to consider if you're in more of an urban environment and the only space you have is possibly right next to your driveway. We have lined ours with planted by nature, and I'll explain that in a second, raspberries. And so far this year, they're at the end of their season now. We actually still have some on the vines, and the kiddos are so done with picking. And life has been so busy, but let me show you here. As long as I don't get attacked by a cane. Oh goodness. Let me show you. Like there's so much fruit still. We have harvested pounds and pounds and pounds of black raspberries. And they're so delicious. They're like candy. I have to get the kids out today to pick the rest of these. That is one of the things you can do though, is just put raspberry bushes next to your driveway if you're concerned with the canes being sharp like that one. Get the thornless varieties. This variety here is actually a blackberry, different from the black raspberries that you just saw me chowing down on. This is completely thornless. So there are some varieties that you can buy that are thornless. The reason why I say these raspberries were nature planted was because we used to have a huge row of cedar trees here shortly after we moved in. The minute we took the cedars down, because they were planted by previous owners, you know how there's times you put in a cedar hedge, you think you're going to maintain it, that sort of thing. Well, they ended up growing up and hitting the wires that connect to our home. They got that huge. So we had them taken down. And shortly after, all of a sudden, all these raspberry plants started to pop up. And it's because the birds and everything that were eating some of the native black raspberries, you know, around the area would sit in the trees and out would come seeds when they were done eating, right? And they'd fall to the ground. And so the minute sunlight hit this area, all the black raspberries came to life. So I was able to recognize them right away. I let them grow. I started taking care of them. I started learning, especially how to prune these varieties to get the most harvest. And now we have an entire hedgerow of raspberries. Much more beneficial to our family than a row of overgrown cedar. Now, when it comes to raspberries, you can absolutely get thornless varieties as well. So it makes it much more comfortable for picking, especially if you have little kids, or if you're concerned when you're getting out of your vehicle to not get, scratched by any of the canes. All right, guys, that's it for the tour today. I hope you enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit of a different style, but hopefully you felt like you were just right here with me hanging out in the garden. I hope your gardens are growing beautifully for you this year. And as always, if you ever have any questions, please let me know. Don't hesitate to shoot us a message. You can find us here, obviously on YouTube, but also on Instagram and Facebook. So check out the description below for more information on how to contact us. In the meantime, before I have to pick up our 4 little monkeys from summer camp, I am going to head out. I'm going to pick some of those bush beans as well as more of those raspberries. As always, happy growing.